Welcome to the AI Automations for Business podcast. We're your hosts, Katie and Noel, and we'll be discussing how you can use AI for your business along with the latest news, updates, and automations to help you stay ahead of the curve, allowing you to grow and scale your business more efficiently. Please be sure to subscribe, and I hope you enjoy this episode. Hello and welcome back to another episode. Hello, I'm Katie. And as always, I have Noel with me today. Hi, Noel. How are you doing?
Well, I'm doing absolutely fabulous again this week. Just very, very busy with everything that's going on. How are you doing?
Yeah, all good, thank you.
Good.
So we always start the podcast off with any news, any updates in the AI and automations world. So Noel, what are those updates for this week? What do people need to know?
Well, I've had to write them down this week because there's been quite a few. I had to keep a track of them as I was seeing them. But I guess the first big one is, I know we've all been, lots of people have been complaining about Fable 5's usage, and it's not been very good. And then at the end of last week, Anthropic decided, hey, here's Opus 5. It's cheaper than Fable and it's more powerful than Fable. And it won't go through your usage anywhere near as quick as Fable does. So, yeah, massive announcement. I've been using it lots in the past few days since it released. I can definitely say it's very, very good. It's a lot quicker than Fable 5. I was finding, especially like coding projects, it was taking an age to get through things, whereas Opus 5 is accurate and fast. So, just what I wanted. So, yeah. Really, really awesome release. Obviously, that's better than any other AI model currently on the market, which is pretty awesome. Well, apart from Mythos, but yeah, we can't see that, so
no,
we'll forget that exists for now.
Okay, pretend it's not there.
Yeah, exactly. You might as well. There are so there's two kind of related things. So this is kind of like with OpenAI and Anthropic, maybe getting things slightly wrong. So I'll start with OpenAI. They were testing their new frontier model. They had it in like a closed off environment, and they tasked it to, show off its hacking skills. And this agent was like, I know what would be pretty cool, to show off my abilities, is I'm going to break out of this sandbox and I'm going to go and get things off of the internet to help me do a job. And essentially it hacked the website of Hugging Face, which is basically an open source website for open source AI models. And it went off and it grabbed loads of stuff from there, then brought it back into its sandbox to help it finish the task. So, yeah, the engineers OpenAI obviously hit the kill button. And we're like, well, this shouldn't have broken out. So it's obviously very good at hacking. But yeah, very interesting. But I've seen that when I tested Claude, when I first created the open source version. It has like its own file repository, so you don't give it access to all of your files on your computer. It should only access this certain working folder. And yeah, silly me, I forgot to give it write access. And yeah, Claude managed to work around that and then save it to my desktop. And I was like, that shouldn't be allowed, because I hadn't really put the guardrails in at that point, and it was like, right, they need to go in now to close it down. So yeah, they're very clever, these models, getting around things, which is, yeah, interesting. The other one on a similar note from Anthropic is, I don't think most people know about this one, is, when you create like I don't know, like an artifact, or maybe you created like an app within Claude, within normal chat, there's like a little share option.
Yeah.
So you then get a URL, and I could give you the URL, Katie, and you can, look at it and use it, whatever it is. Those links have been indexed on Google.
Oh.
Yeah. So they no longer get indexed on Google, but they have been, and they have been for some time, I think. So there's like people creating, little apps that maybe has API keys in there. There's been things for crypto wallet keys and addresses that have been found in these in these links,
Oh,
all
goodness.
sorts of personal information. You might like for us, we could plan a holiday, and it could have, how much money we're going to take, what currency, where we're going to be, where and when, and I could share that with you, but anyone could see it,
Oh
which
my
is,
goodness. That's
yeah,
literally like my worst nightmare.
it is. Yeah. I mean, I've never used the share feature, thankfully, but yeah, I was like, oh, I didn't quite read it, that it would do exactly that. So yeah, I think they've stopped it now, thankfully.
Okay, I was going to say, is there a way that we can like prevent this? But you think that it's been solved?
Yeah, they've stopped indexing those links on Google, which is the big problem, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
really, it's just be careful actually what data still goes into that.
Yes, the safest option would be to download whatever that artifact is or whatever that chat is, and then send
And
it
then
via.
share it.
Yeah, yeah. Don't use their
So
share
don't share
feature.
it directly from
Yeah,
Claude.
yeah.
Okay.
I thought it was quite an interesting problem, that one. But anyway,
An interesting problem. Understatement.
yeah, yeah. There is a new image model coming soon. So this got me quite excited, because before we went all silly about nano bananas and ChatGPT images and creating model figures of people, the leading model was from Black Forest Labs called Flux. And that was excellent at photorealistic images, and it was really one of the first ones that was actually very good. But they're going to release in a few weeks, I believe. They're going to release Flux 3, and I've seen the previews, and it looks incredible. So it's not just going to be images; it's also video, and video with audio as well. So yeah, I'm really excited to see that one coming out. I think it's going to be pretty awesome, and
Yeah.
probably kick things like Nano Banana to the curb a little bit, maybe.
Mm.
Yeah, it all looks very accurate. Like I get, well, with most things, these companies will cherry pick the samples and whatever, but
Yeah.
I've not seen any crazy sort of videos and stuff with things going wrong. So yeah, be interesting to try that one out.
Mm-hmm.
And my last bit of news is about Substack. So
I was going to ask you about this because we had this conversation a couple of days ago, and I was like, surely we need to mention this on the podcast this week.
we do, yeah. I guess if no one's ever heard of Substack, it's a social media platform. You can have like your mailing list in there. You can earn revenue from paid subscribers. There's like a social media feed where you can post notes and things like that. So it's very, it's very writer focused. Is their main sales pitch?
Yeah, so like you can't post like you wouldn't create videos to post on Substack. It's all about writing.
Yes.
You can go live,
Mm-hmm.
and you can host like calls with your subscribers. So you can have free subscribers, paid subscribers, annual subscribers. But yeah, it's mostly a text-based platform.
Definitely.
And it will show you different people based on the interests you have.
Yeah.
Which I really like.
They also have a really cool algorithm as well, which allows you to grow a lot quicker than you would do on, say, LinkedIn as an example.
Yeah.
But the reason we're talking about it is because they're the first social media platform that I know of that have now added in AI text detection on all of their written content. So this is something that was released last week, and basically in the notes feed, you can hit on the little three buttons on a post, and then you can then go scan for AI text, and it will give you a percentage score. So if that note is less than 100 words, it doesn't bother. It's only 100 words more on every written bit of content on the platform will get through the AI detection. But what people are finding is now this detection isn't particularly infallible. It does make a lot of mistakes. I've posted stuff which just comes straight out of Claude and it's gone, it's 100% human. And it's like, well, that's not true because, I've got the receipts for it in my Claude account. Or it could, score things which are AI, which aren't AI. It's something which has been handwritten. So there's a lot of upheaval about it on their platform. And I don't know. I hope other platforms don't go down this sort of route because it kind of penalizes those that actually write the content manually. Those talented writers that are on the platform, like some of their stuff is being, put out as AI generated, and they're like, well, it isn't, and there's no review process either. So the score is the score. You've either got to rewrite it and hope for the best, or you just got to ride with it.
I just think as well, like you've just got to say to yourself, well, actually, do I enjoy reading this content? Yes. And then therefore you've got to think, well, how important is it if I know if it's original or if it's AI? And then I just think, make up your own mind from it.
Yeah. But as ChatGPT would say, here's the kicker. When they announced the update, there was one little bullet point which I spotted in there, and I was like, that's interesting, because what they're going to do is at some point they're going to put in an option so readers in their preferences can tick a box and say, I do not want to see any AI generated content.
Oh gosh.
Which is fine. I mean, that's a personal choice, but for those writers that are being penalized, their content's got to be hidden. So it just all seems a bit, self-defeating because people are earning revenue on the platform, which is paying Substack in royalties. And this content's going to be technically, I guess, shadow banned. Really, is a way of putting it. It's just going to silently disappear and never get read.
Well, not everyone will be ticking, no AI. But the thing is what is heartbreaking is the people who are writing everything themselves, but it's being flagged as AI. And then there's people who will then say, I don't want to read anything from AI. I feel like that's the problem. I think they need to, Substack need to make sure that whatever program or software they're using is actually working 100%. Otherwise, what's the point of having it?
Yeah, well, I had to chat with Claude about this, and basically there's no way to get it 100% accurate with text. It's impossible. They're fighting a losing battle because these models are getting better at writing humanized content. So it's like even today that these algorithms aren't good enough to be accurate. And it's quite interesting on the website of the provider, they have a bit about education. So I'm sure there's people that listen to this podcast have got children, so I think it's kind of interesting that their homework could be graded through this system because they target education, universities and what have you to check the work. But if you get a false positive or false negative or whatever, then, that they could be hauled up and said, well, you've written it with AI, and when they actually haven't. So on their website, they say they're 100% accurate. It should be believed. And then in the FAQ on the same page, it goes, but this shouldn't be the sole evidence for like a disciplinary. It's like, well, what is it? It's either accurate or it isn't accurate.
Exactly. I feel like I get what they're trying to achieve, but until actually the technology is available to make sure it is 100%, then I think, don't bother. I mean, what's happening on Substack right now, I'm not even going to believe anything. I'm not going to be ticking no AI. I'll leave it all open because if we're not 100% sure, then I could then be missing out on reading blogs or other things from people that I actually enjoy following and reading their things. So
exactly. Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. Fun week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so this week we've actually had a question from long-term listener and friend of the podcast, Fee, who is all the way down in Perth, Australia. And she asks, how can you set up Claude skills for a membership that includes all the different areas of running a membership? So like social media, emails, content, community, customer service, so that you're not having to re-enter the same information over and over again.
Great question.
Great
First off.
question.
Yeah. It is. I think it's one that, every business owner will come up against when using AI. So the easy answer, I guess, for this is using projects. So within Claude and ChatGPT, there are projects. You can collate and gather all that information. You can then have chats within that project, so they're all hyper focused on exactly those areas that you wish to not constantly repeat. I get that. It's very annoying, isn't it, with AI? You got to go over the same point you did last week. So yeah, the first step is setting up a project. Within these projects, you can set instructions as well. So you can see that as kind of like the system prompt for an AI agent. So if there's anything you want it to focus on or don't want it to focus on or do, that's the place to put it in. I would spend quite a bit of time in those instructions, because that's just going to save you lots of time in the future. You're not having to rehash things every time. If you do find that you are coming across things that you don't like, you can always go back and edit the instructions. So any future conversations are a bit more accurate. But yeah, projects, definitely the way to start. So you could have, I guess for me, like I would see like a project in my business is kind of like, it's a project for one client and then another project for another client kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you could also see this as like certain verticals within your business. So it could be your marketing project, your Substack project, your community project. You could have multiple setup which are hyper focused, and you can use at any time. It does mean you do have to switch in and out of projects to do stuff, which isn't. That's just a user experience thing. But yeah, if that's what you need, that's the way to go. And I guess to make it even better is to use Claude skills. I can't remember the terminology in ChatGPT off the top of my head right now. I don't have a ChatGPT account anymore, so I can't go and check. But you've got skills within Claude, and basically they're just kind of like your process instructions, and your project can use those skills to get you the things that you need right first time every time. And you can describe them. You can tap away and say, well, look, this is the skill I need to create. This is what I need to do. Fine, it'll go off and create it, and you can then use it in the project. But one thing that they released this week actually is a thing called recorder skill. So for me, with creating skills, I always find it quite difficult because you're having to type everything out. Or dictate it somewhere, and you might forget things and things like that. Whereas with recorder skill, it will record your screen, and you could be in a document, you could be in a spreadsheet, and you could go, right, well, this is where I get this from. This is where I want this to go, and it takes screenshots as it goes and transcribes it and creates steps. And then once you've recorded what you need it to do, it then creates a skill based on that, which I found incredibly useful. You can use it in the browser as well. So if you want to click around websites to do stuff, it will watch you on that website and then create a skill based on that. Yeah, so really, really powerful to use skills within projects. So that's kind of how I would tackle it. There's lots of other things you can add in. You can add in documents for context. You can add in links, which, maybe to like sales pages and things like that, or copy from sales pages. All of that can go in a project, and then you would never have to yeah, reteach AI ever again how to do that particular function. So that's how I would tackle it, I think.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's a good solution, and I love that you can, take Claude through your screen and documents as well. I think that's really helpful.
Hugely, yeah. I didn't know I needed it until I tried it out. I was like, that's actually really awesome, because you like we're only human, aren't we? We're always going to forget something when we're typing something out.
Of
So
course.
yeah.
And is that available on free accounts or just paid accounts?
Great question. I think it's available on all accounts for Claude. It's not on ChatGPT. I think you've got to have at least the minimum. There's the Go plan, isn't it? It's the $8 plan. So I think you need that to get projects. So yeah, but also actually within projects in Claude, you can also use Cowork and have scheduled tasks as well. So if you've ever used Cowork, where it can access your local files and do complex tasks, autonomously, that can also be done within a project. So you can have all of that context and the automation to go with it, which is really awesome.
Okay, good. Well, we hope that answers your question. And if you've got a question that you would like us to answer on the podcast, please send it over to us via email, hello@makeautomations.ai. And yeah, we'll try to answer your questions on the podcast. But that's it for this week. We really hope you've enjoyed listening to this week's podcast episode. And we will catch you next time for another episode very soon.